Good day everyone. First of all, let me introduce myself. I am Erica Malinaw, and for today's discussion, I am going to continue the report of Miss Agatha, and the assigned topic to me is about revised or new taxonomy. Revised taxonomy. So after 45 years since the publication of Bloom's taxonomy, Lauren Anderson, a Bloom's former student, and David Cratwell lead a new group of experts to work together. So the result was what is now called the revised taxonomy. It was developed by Benjamin Bloom and a team of educational psychologists in the 1950s. The taxonomy is designed to help educators and instructional designers to create learning experiences that promote higher order thinking skills and intellectual development. Bloom's taxonomy of educational objectives. There are 6 stages in all taxonomy, which are the knowledge, comprehension, application, analysis, synthesis, and evaluation. So first, the knowledge. Knowledge, this level represents the foundational aspects of learning and involves the ability to recall or recognize facts, concepts, or information. It includes the recall of specific details, terms, or procedures. The next one is comprehension. At this level, learners demonstrate understanding by interpreting or summarizing information. It involves grasping the meaning in information, explaining ideas in one's own words, or categorizing information into different parts. Third, we have application. This level focuses on using acquired knowledge and skills to solve problems in new situation or context. It involves applying learned information or concepts to real-life scenarios, using procedures or techniques to solve problems, or demonstrating the practical use of knowledge. Next, the analysis. At this level, learners break down complex information into its constituent parts of examining the relationships between them. It involves underlying patterns, organizing information, comparing and contrasting different elements, and recognizing underlying structures or principles. Next, we have the synthesis. This level emphasizes the ability to integrate and combine information to create something new. It involves generating ideas, constructing our models, designing solutions, or composing works using existing knowledge or concepts. Next, we have the evaluation. The highest level in the cognitive dimension involves making judgments or assessments based on criteria and standards. It involves evaluating the quality, value, or effectiveness of ideas, solutions, or arguments, and making informed judgments or decisions based on evidence or reasoning. These levels provide a framework for understanding the complexity and depth of thinking required in different learning tasks. Teachers can use this taxonomy to design instructional activities that target specific levels of cognitive processing, ensuring that learners engage in progressively higher order thinking skills and achieve deeper understanding. Bloom's taxonomy noong 1956, so simula sa knowledge hanggang sa pinakataas, which is yung knowledge, comprehension, application, analysis, synthesis, and evaluation. What is revised Bloom taxonomy? It provides the measurement tool for thinking. Kasi nga 'di ba, yung Bloom's taxonomy, mula siya sa pinakamadali hanggang sa pinakamahirap. The challenges occur in 3 broad categories, which are the terminologies, structure, and emphasis. So, sa terminologies, nagkakaroon ng mga new terminologies na ginamit at mga structure naman na nagkaroon ng mga bagong paraan ng pagkatuto. Yung unang taxonomy ay nabuo noong 1956, so mas maraming pumayag na maiba ito, kaya't nag-revise ulit tapos muling naibukas noong taong 2001. Yung mga ginamit na terminologies noong una ay noun, samantalang noong 2001 yung mga terminologies ay naging verb or pandiwa. The year 1956, ang ginamit na terminologies ay ang pangalan. Pero nabago ito nung ni-revise noong year 2001. Ang mga pangalan na termino ay ginawang verb o pandiwa. Like for example, yung knowledge naging remembering, yung comprehension naging understanding, synthesis na naging creating. And now, let's move on to the 6th level of revised taxonomy. Level 1, remembering. The learner is able to recall, restate, and remember learned information. Question starting from what, where, how, and why, whose answer can be retrieved, recognized, and recall are full under remembering. So, yung unang level ay remembering, kung saan inaalala, binabalikan ng mga students ang kanilang mga natutunan. Kadalasan ang mga sagot sa tanong na saan, paano, bakit, at ano ay mayroong sagot na masasabing under ng remembering. Level 2, understanding or comprehension. The learning grasps the meaning of the information by interpreting and translating what has been learned. So, the second level ay tinatawag na understanding. So, nangyayari ito kapag hindi lang basta natatandaan ng bata, kumbaga naiintindihan niya talaga. Like for example, sa exam, may mga exam na iniiba ng teachers yung mga terms or definitions para masukat if natuto yung mga learners. Level 3, applying. The learner makes use of acquired knowledge, facts, techniques, and rules in a different way. The third level naman ay ang applying. So dito naman kailangan ma-apply ng isang estudyante ang mga natutunan nila sa mga naging talakayan. So for me, kailangan muna natin ng understanding dito para ma-i-apply. Kapag kasi hindi pa naiintindihan ng isang bagay, syempre, mahirap itong ma-apply at gamitin. Level 4, analyzing. The learner breaks the learned information into its part, determining how the parts interrelate to one another, to an overall structure or purpose, through differentiating, organizing, and attributing. So, sa pag-a-analyze, kinakailangan isa-isahin, pira-pirasuhin yung mga information, kumbaga, kailangan masuri ang bawat parte ng ideya. Differentiating ay ang pag-alam sa pagkakaiba or pagkukumpara. Ang organizing naman ay pagsasaayos. At ang attributing naman ay para saan pa o kaya naman para kanino o sino ang magbe-benefit. Level 5, evaluating. The learner makes decision based on reflection, criticism, assessment through checking, and critiquing. So dito naman makakagawa ng mas maganda or angkop na desisyon ang isang tao kapag naiintindihan niya ng lubos ang isang bagay. Kapag kasi kulang yung kaalaman niya, then gumawa siya ng isang desisyon, ay maaaring maging epekto yon ng hindi maayos. Level 6, creating. The learners creates new ideas and information using what have previously learned. So, katulad ng paniniwala dito sa Bloom's Taxonomy, makikita ang ideya tungkol sa paggamit ng mga lumang kaalaman sa pagtuklas ng mga new informations. Structural changes. Bloom's original cognitive taxonomy was one-dimensional, consisting of factual, conceptual, and procedural. So, sa original na Bloom's Taxonomy, ang mayroon lang sa structure, factual, conceptual, at procedural. Noong nagkaroon ng revision noong 2001, ang structure ay naging factual, conceptual, procedural, at metacognitive. Factual knowledge refers to essential facts, terminology, details, or elements student must know. Conceptual knowledge is a knowledge of classification, principles, generalizations, theories, models, or structure pertinent to a particular disciplinary area. Ang una ay ang factual knowledge. Ito ay mahalagang kaalaman, impormasyon at detalye na dapat malaman ng isang estudyante, like for example, knowledge about math, kaalaman about sa pagbabasa, at kaalaman sa pagsusulat. Ito ay tumutukoy sa 3 R's sa essentialism sa education. Next, ang sumusunod na part ng structure ay conceptual knowledge. So, ang conceptual knowledge ay mga kaalaman naman mula sa mga konsepto, theory at mga principles, and definition naman sinasabing ang isang conceptual knowledge ay kaalaman na nakukuha sa isang particular na disiplina, like for example sa cognitive domain. Kapag cognitive, sinasabi sa theory na tungkol ito sa pag-process ng information o kaya naman sa pag-iisip ng mga angkop or accurate na bagay. Procedural knowledge refers to information or knowledge that helps students to do something specific to a discipline, subject, area of study. Metacognitive knowledge is a strategic or reflective knowledge about how to go solving problems. Cognitive tasks to include contextual and conditional knowledge and knowledge of self. Next naman ay yung tinatawag natin na procedural knowledge. Sumunod naman, ang makikita din natin sa structure ay ang procedural knowledge. So kapag procedure, naiisip agad natin na ito ay tumutukol sa instructions o mga bagay na dapat sundin. Makakatulong ang ganitong kaalaman para mas maintindihan o maunawaan ng mga students ang mga bagay-bagay na nasa paligid. And ang last part ng structure ay ang tinatawag na metacognitive knowledge. Ito ang last part ng structure na nadagdag noong nirevise ang Bloom's Taxonomy at ito ang metacognitive knowledge. So ito ay malaking tulong para masolusyonan ang malaking problema ng mga students. Knowledge dimension, cognitive dimension. Remember, recognize, recall. Factual, terminology, specific details, elements. Remember facts. For example, list the ingredients of kare-kare. Conceptual, classifications, categories, principles, and generalizations. Theories, models, structures. Remember concepts. For example, describe kare-kare as a Filipino dish. Procedural, subject-specific skills, algorithms, techniques, and methods, criteria for determining when to use the procedures. Remember procedures, example, recall, steps, and cooking kare-kare. Metacognitive, strategic knowledge, cognitive task, contextual and conditional knowledge, self-knowledge. Remember metacognitive knowledge, example, review task, accomplish, and cooking kare-kare. Cognitive dimensions: understand, interpret, exemplify, classify, summarize, infer, confer, explain. Factual: understand facts, example, summarize the features of the latest smartphone model. Conceptual: understand concepts, example, classify smartphones according to operating system. Procedural: understand procedures, example, describe the procedure of sending group message using cell phones. Metacognitive: understand metacognitive knowledge, example, choose best strategies to adjust quickly in using a different smartphone. Apply, execute, implement. Factual: apply facts, example, use facts in answering questions. Conceptual: apply concepts, example, demonstrate coherence in answering questions. Procedural: apply procedures, example, follow the PQ4R steps in reading and chapter. Metacognitive: apply metacognitive knowledge, example, use the study strategy to overcome one's weakness. Cognitive dimensions: analyze, differentiate, organize, attribute. Factual: analyze facts, example, identify the keywords in the definition anger. Conceptual: analyze concepts, example, identify triggers of anger among teenagers. Procedural: Analyze procedures. Example, examine the different steps family members take to manage anger. Metacognitive. Analyze metacognitive knowledge. Example, reflect on one's ability to manage anger. Cognitive dimensions. Evaluate, check, critique. Factual. Evaluate facts. Example, select the most complete list of investment banks. Conceptual. Evaluate concepts. Example, critique the different views about financial literacy. Procedural. Evaluate procedures. Example, choose the best ways to invest money. Metacognitive. Evaluate metacognitive knowledge. Example, assess one's financial literacy. Cognitive dimension. Create, generate, plan, produce. Factual. Create facts. Example, produce a presentation showing award-winning adobo recipes. Conceptual. Create concepts. Example, write an informal essay about authentic adobo is. Procedural. Create procedures. Example, create a new recipe for cooking adobo. Metacognitive. Create metacognitive knowledge. Example, make project about adobo as a Filipino dish based on one's talents. And now, let's move on to the practical guide in using the revised taxonomy. When you are ready to plan your units, lesson, or activities, Bloom's taxonomy will be very useful in helping you formulate your learning objectives. Below is a collection of action words and possible activities or work which you can use for your plan. Cognitive dimension levels. Remember recalling information. Sample action words: recall, describe, name, locate, list, write, state, find, tell, underline, reproduce, define. Suggested activities, outputs, or outcomes. Recitations, worksheets, definitions, facts, charts, list. Understand, explaining information and concepts. Sample action words: explain, describe, translate, define, interpret, report, discuss, predict. Suggested activities, outputs, or outcomes: story problems, drawing, show and tell summary, paraphrasing. Cognitive dimension levels apply, using information in a new way. Sample action words: use, practice, solve, execute, implement, demonstrate, construct, dramatize. Suggested activities, outputs, or outcomes: presentation, role-playing, simulation, collection, model, scrapbook, product. Cognitive dimension levels analyze, distinguishing different parts of a whole. Sample action words: compare, contrast, distinguish, separate, investigate, differentiate, infer, sequence. Suggested activities, outputs, or outcomes: chart, plan, questionnaire, spreadsheet, summary, survey. Cognitive dimension levels evaluate, defending a concept or idea. Sample action words: assess, appraise, debate, check, defend, decide, dispute, justify, judge, rate. Suggested activities, outputs, or outcomes: opinion, judgment, recommendations, report, self-evaluation, position, paper, critique. Cognitive dimension levels create. Sample action words: change, invent, design, devise, formulate, generate, improve, compose, plan, combine, propose. Suggested activities, outputs, or outcomes: framework, model, story, multimedia presentation, poem, haiku, song, essay. Uses of the revised taxonomy. It provides educator with a common set of terms and levels about learning outcomes that help in planning across subject matter and grade levels. It helps in drafting of learning standards across levels. It serves a guide in evaluating the school's curriculum, objectives, activities, and assessment. It guides the teachers in formulating learning outcomes that tap higher order thinking skills. That's all. Thank you for listening.